If you receive SNAP or EBT benefits, please let me know if you got a very odd text or letter in the mail saying that your benefits were going to be late due to disaster relief after the hurricane. What am I talking about? There are people here in Louisiana that did not receive their EBT SNAP benefits, and the text message they received said that it was due to the fact that they needed to help the areas that were hit by the hurricane. So what does that tell me? That tells me that America is broke. Because see, the EBT SNAP program, folks, is a federal program, and it's sent to the states, and then the states put in so much money. So if your SNAP benefits didn't come in Louisiana or any other state with a notice saying they're having to help people in the disaster areas, that means we're simply running out of money. And my question is it happening to the illegal immigrants too? Are their SNAP benefits being put on hold, or are they considered a special group? Folks, we are really in a pickle in this country. America cannot help Americans and help the entire world. And I'm fixing to prove that to you in this video. Good morning, everyone. My name is Samantha. I'm the owner and operator of a 2-acre farmstead here in Southeast Louisiana. And today's video is gonna basically bust all the lies that you're hearing all over mainstream media. So first off, the fiscal year for the federal government does not run in a calendar year like it does for you and for me. What do I mean? It runs from October 1st all the way through to the end of September the following year. So just recently, on October 1st, American federal agencies were giving their allotted amount of money for the end of 2024 and the beginning and through 2025, their fiscal year. How much money was FEMA given? $22 billion. Now, what you're going to hear on mainstream media is we need to reconvene Congress. We don't have enough money to make it through. And that's a lie.
MSNBC with 60 House Democrats that are urging Mike Johnson to reconvene Congress to pass a bill for the hurricane relief. Y'all take a look at this.
Meanwhile, in Washington, more than 60 House Democrats have signed on to a letter urging Speaker Mike Johnson to, quote, immediately call Congress back into session to pass more disaster funding. But Johnson so far is not budging.
So I want y'all to pay attention that they said House Democrats. That's going to be important later. Now, Speaker Mike Johnson responded to this claim. Take a look.
Mr. Speaker, was it a mistake to leave and adjourn the Congress for the campaign trail without addressing more disaster relief funding given the circumstances that we now find ourselves in?
Well, the fact is, I think that many people have not fully understood is that we did address it, and we did appropriate $20 billion additional dollars to FEMA with early drawdown authority. So they're sitting on a giant pile of cash, and they haven't used it yet. As of Monday of this week, the Biden administration had only sent out about 1% of those dollars. They'd only distributed 1%. So
what, bro? What did I just hear? Bill 20 billion, and you give him 700. Bro, this guy, whoa. I'm losing my mind. I'm seriously I'm malfunctioning right now. I need a reboot.
There's plenty of money to address the immediate needs, and that's what we're counting on them and calling upon them to do.
So the bill that Speaker House Mike Johnson is referring to is the appropriated bill, which funding is allocated to each department for each fiscal year. So in this case, the government fiscal year is different than just thinking about it annually. Their fiscal year starts on October 1st through September 30th. That is their entire fiscal year. The bill that he's talking about that they passed is H.R. 8752, which they had already passed this bill in the House on June 28th, 2024. Within this bill, various federal departments are allocated funding. So in this case, with the disaster relief fund, they allocated over $22 billion that had passed the House. Now, remember that the majority in the House is Republicans. Now, the funny thing about all of this is that they're on the news saying that the Republicans are the ones that shot down the bill. Well, let's really take a look at that. So as you can see here on the roll call, you had about 207 Republicans that voted yay, but you had 197 Democrats that said nay. So who really shot down the funding? I'm just asking. So now that we have established that the House actually did pass the appropriation bill for 2025, now it's left up to the Senate. And who rules the Senate? The Democrats. And who is president of this current Senate? Your Vice President, Kamala Harris. So who really needs to pass the bill and come back to Congress? Just asking. So you may ask, why are they doing this? And why did Mayorkas get on the news and the mainstream media and say that FEMA doesn't have enough funding to make it through this season? I'm going to tell you why. Because Trump showed up before any of the government showed up with supplies, food, oil, money, anything. And he was boots on the ground on September 30th. And the optics made them look bad.
America imports the majority of the supplies that you use in your home, your conditioner, your shampoo. I want you to Google Johnson & Johnson and look at how many lawsuits have been filed against them over the past 20 years, just for the fact that they have caused people to become very ill. There is a company in America that you can become part of, that you can make the switch and know that your products are being made in America with a non-toxic components, folks. It's amazing. I've been using their stuff. I love their soap, and their deodorant does not have aluminum. Like, we have to be able to spend our money in a way that it's going to support America. This company has also donated millions of dollars to Maui. It is now donating millions of dollars to North Carolina. It's an American company, owned and operated in America. Your products are made here, they're manufactured here, and they're shipped here.
So now they got to spin the story because it's an election year. Now, while Trump was on the ground, this is what Biden had to say during this time on the same day, September 30th.
On the hurricane, Mr. President, why weren't you and Vice President Harris here in Washington commanding this weekend?
I was commanding. I was on the phone for at least 2 hours yesterday and the day before as well. I commanded. Call the telephone. Is it all my security?
Now, mind you, this is the government. They knew a whole week in advance that this hurricane was about to hit. And so did Mayorkas. And they knew that the House and the Congress was in session that last week of September because they passed the 9747 bill that also extended funding. Why didn't Mayorkas speak up then? So even before Mayorkas got on the mainstream media and claimed that FEMA didn't have enough money to make it through this season, they knew they had executive drawdown power. As Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson said, this means that by executive power, they can allocate funding immediately to the designated disaster areas. These disaster areas was declared after October 1st. Some before then, but mostly after October 1st, which means that you are now in a new fiscal year. So this $20 billion does apply to this disaster. But I find it funny, on September 26th, he did an executive drawdown for Ukraine. President Biden has done over 55 executive drawdowns for funding allocated to Ukraine. This means that the funding can get to wherever it needs quickly, as I stated before. So instead of them focusing on the health and the disasters that were about to hit our nation and our country, they focused on foreign affairs. And then it came back to bite them because Trump showed up immediately after the disaster happened. So all you Democrats that are running out there and trying to bash us for speaking up and standing on the truth, this is what we mean that this administration puts Americans last. Y'all have a good day.
So you just watched what I watched too. House Leader Johnson explained to fake news media that FEMA has $20 billion on hand and has only spent about 2% of that. Also, states have not submitted their needs to Congress. Once these requests are received, Congress will act.
Now let's circle back. Remember in the beginning of the video when I asked you guys, do you know anyone who didn't get their SNAP benefits due to having to help those Americans in these disasters? Which, guys, come on, we're Americans, we should help each other, right? But let me ask that question again. Are the illegal aliens also getting that? Because here's the problem. FEMA's terrified that they're actually going to have to use $22 billion for American citizens versus funneling it to their pet projects, one of which happens to be the illegal aliens. Watch this.
FEMA relief money to use on migrants. Funding is also available through FEMA's emergency food and shelter program to eligible local governments and non-for-profit organizations upon request to support humanitarian relief for migrants.
Now, that's just in case you missed it. In 2022, those are video nukes of White House spokesmen claiming that FEMA funds weren't divided into illegal immigrants' pockets, and they definitely were.
Now, what a lot of liberals and politicians will not tell you was it was Donald Trump that actually started providing federal funding to help feed and house the illegal aliens, because why? He has a heart. But then he put in place Stay in Mexico. And that funding started to kind of, go down. It was small. Well, then Biden was put in as president. And what did the Democrats do? They started pushing for more and more funding to go to that program. And the Republicans fought them on it. A couple of times they won, but usually we got our way and we were trying to defund that program. I mean, why? Why are we required to house people that broke into our country? Why are we required to feed them? And don't come back to, you know what? That's what Christians are supposed to do. The Bible says he who does not work does not eat. Folks, you need to wake up. Are you not tired of going to Walmart? And it doesn't matter where in America, because it's happening even in rural South Louisiana, and watching people of all different countries of origin using EBT cards to purchase everything from Lysol and toilet paper to video games. Yeah, because they have cash benefits on those EBT cards. And then I look at what Americans are going through, and we have people on Social Security that can't afford food, folks. This is not okay. Look, America can't help anyone else until we can help ourselves. There is plenty of money for the immediate needs of anyone that has been injured or hurt or lost anything in these storms. The problem is FEMA won't release the money. And then they get on TV and spin it as if it's us just wanting to hate on Americans. You need to spread this video as far and wide as you can, because we're fixing to vote. And either we're going to live through 4 years of worse than what we've lived through, it's coming. Or we put Donald Trump back and we ship them all home. We close our borders. We put tariffs on imports. We find something to back the dollar so it's not just a piece of paper. And America becomes the country that can help other people again. But until that point, we can't even help ourselves right now, folks. And that's because the money's being allocated incorrectly. $22 billion. You just got it on October 1st. What are you doing with it, FEMA? That's a question you guys should all be asking. What are you doing with it? Where is $22 billion? Give these people the money they need. Stop denying people $750 for immediate needs. And by the way, once again, that is not a grant. That is not a loan. It is a grant. Now, I know a lot of people are being denied it, but please stop listening to these idiots that are coming on all these social media platforms and saying you're going to lose your property if you take it and don't pay it back. It's a lie. I got it during Ida. Of course, it was only $500 then. It was only $700 for Maui. At least it's up to $750. But let's be honest, immediate needs per family, they should give everybody $2,500 at least to help them until FEMA gets their case taken care of, which can take months. God bless America. I hope all of you get out and vote, because this is a fight for our country. And just in case you didn't hear, there has been a third attempt on Donald J. Trump's life. Why do you think, guys? Why do you think these people are trying to kill him? Just open your mind. Why? Why? Because he's going to push back against
claim to be sovereign citizens, and assuming the deputy assumes that he was part of that identifying group. So during the investigation, obviously those identification documents were found, in addition to a loaded handgun and a shotgun. Obviously, this was before the former president arrived. The person was taken into custody. He was eventually booked into jail on those charges, and eventually he was released, named as Vem, V-E-M, Miller, M-I-L-L-E-R, and his birth date is 10/26 of 1970.